Okay, and welcome back. So in the previous video, what we did is we took XYZ data, converted it into a surface graph inside of XYZ Mesh, and then exported it into Excel. Today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you the main features of exporting data into Excel, the functionality of curving inside of XYZ Mesh, and what the different functions are for. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to restart this program, start from scratch so we can see exactly how it operates and runs. So XYZ Mesh is loaded up, everything is brand new and fresh. I'm going to first look at our XYZ data. So this data is the same data we used before, and this was just XYZ latitude, longitude, meter coordinates that was taken from Google Earth. So I basically just went on Google Earth, went to a plot of land that's about 15 acres, and then I started plotting out data points. And you can see we have a total of 240 data points here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all of this, and I do not want to select the header data. And the reason for that, XYZ Mesh currently has header data on there, so you don't want to paste header data into it. So I'm going to go down here, copy all that, and then I'm going to paste it into XYZ Mesh. Now you will notice that there's two different tabs up at the top. One is XYZ input and the other is mesh input. So if you have a mesh format already and you want to convert that over into an XYZ format, you can paste your mesh grid in here and then convert it over and it will convert mesh to XYZ. So very simple. XYZ, on the other hand, if you have XYZ data, you want to paste it in here without the headers, just simply right click and hit paste. And all your data is going to be shown there. And it's also going to be graphed over here on the side. Now I'm going to cover the functionality of the graph in a second. Right now I want to focus on the input. If you notice right here, it says our row count is 501. I put that in there as a row count because that is more rows than I'm going to need. If you paste in a lot of data and it's going to need to be more than this number, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to need to update this. So let's say this is only 240 data points and there's a lot of data points empty right there I don't need. I'm just going to change this to 250, update, and then I'm going to paste my data back in. And as you can see now, we only have 10 empty blocks. Okay, next thing that we want to look at is the decimal points. The decimal points is whenever you convert this into a grid format, it is going to look at the separate decimal points right here. And the more decimal points you have, the more blocks you are going to have when you convert it to a mesh. If you condense this down, then it's not going to take as long to convert, and it's not going to have as many empty data points. So it's going to be easier to graph the differences in between the data points. I have already tested this out, and I have found out that 4 decimal points work pretty good for this set of data with latitude, longitude coordinates. So 4 works pretty good. So I'm going to leave it at that. Next, this section right here is the sorting. I recommend all of my customers keep auto sorting on. This is here just in case you know specifically that you only want to sort by the X values, or you only want to sort by the Y values, or you don't want to sort your data at all. However, the auto sort will automatically sort the data and put it into a format that Excel can understand. If you select any of the other 3 options, you run the chance of not having correct data graphed. So we recommend that you do auto sort and leave it there unless you know exactly what you want your outcome to be. Next is the curving features, and the curving features is what makes XYZ Mesh so spectacular. Now, with typical mesh of conversions that you would have, so there's lots of different software and conversion types out there that will take XYZ data and convert it into mesh for you. And a lot of those just do this right here, which is a single point graphing. A single point graphing means that you will not be adding any extra data points. You're not going to be curving it. You are just taking your raw data points and putting it into a mesh format. So if I select single points and click convert to mesh, you can see there's a lot of left empty data points right here that were not there, well, that are empty. So it only put data points in that are actual data points. So this is an actual data point over here. But you can see there's lots of empty spaces. If you leave your format like this and export it into Excel, you will not get an accurate graph, because when you export to Excel, and I'm going to show you this window more later, Excel reads empty data points as a 0. So when you graph it, it's going to look very jagged like this. And the reason for that, all of these empty data points, Excel reads as a 0. So you see that those little spikes, those are your data points. That's the only data points that you have. The rest of it are 0. So they are down here at the bottom. XYZ Mesh is the only product available that will take your data and curve it to make it match the nearest data points around it. That is the complete curve feature. If you select that and hit convert to mesh, I want you to watch these numbers that are there are going to stay the same, but everything else is going to get numbers added to it. So as you can see, now all the data points are being converted, condensed, and calculated. And now you have a completed mesh that you can export into Excel. That is what a complete curve is. A fast curve, the option right here, is what you want to select whenever you have a lot of data points, but you don't necessarily need all of it curved. Let's say that you only have a small section like the center points and you have all your data points there. A fast curve is just going to curve those central data points and leave everything else alone. Now in the last row, the remove duplicates. Remove duplicates should always be left on, especially whenever you are reducing the decimal points from the normal amount down to a smaller amount, because you will eventually have overlap. So you'll want to leave remove duplicates on. Next is theoretical points. And you can see right here, this is a theoretical point that was added in. What theoretical points do? Excel has a very strange way of graphing data. There are some times whenever data points are actually left empty and there's a big gap, and Excel doesn't know how to do that. By adding theoretical data points in, it'll fill in the empty gaps that Excel will skip over. So if I deselect that, I can show you what I mean. Okay, so if you can see right here, let me move this back a little bit. There is a big section right there that is left empty. Now, Excel will take that data and scrunch it up together and make it the same width as almost all the rest of them. With theoretical data points, that will actually get a line added to it. So it makes it more rounded and more accurate when you're looking at it in Excel. Okay, now for exporting this into Excel. I'm going to touch more on this later when I look at how to export, all the different export options, but this is the basic functionality for exporting into Excel. You can include different project names and things like that, or your business name right here, and all of this is saved. So it's saved on your local system. So if you ever want to include your own business name or something like that, you can just toggle this on, type this in, it's saved for you automatically, and whenever you do that, it's going to export that into the Excel document whenever you export your Excel document. So it's a very neat feature that it's a nice way to brand your work. So I'm going to leave that on there like that, and I'm going to go ahead and look at my graphing options. What we previously saw was a 3D surface graph. That is what we looked at the beginning of this video and at the end of the last video. A 3D wireframe is something similar to what you see here. This is a 3D wireframe. So if you want that to be exported into Excel, you can select that. You can also select a contour, which is an overview looking down. Basically, it's a surface graph looking down at it. And then a contour wireframe is an overhead view of the wireframe, which if I zoom back like this, it'll kind of look like that right there. Kind of like that. Now, another feature that you can add in is if you would like to add a transparent background to it and say that you have an image of Google Earth for the plot of land that you are doing, you can put that picture on there and it will graph it over top of that image. Now, Excel will not automatically line it up for you. You are going to have to go in there and stretch the image and line it up and make sure that it matches, but you do have that option to put a background image on it. Or you can put your logo in the background, kind of like a watermark, just to make sure that everyone knows where it came from. Now, once you have everything ready, you can go ahead and export it to Excel. Whenever you export to Excel, it won't take very long, just a few seconds, and it's already brought up right here. And as you can see, we have a wireframe right there of our data. And then we also have, if I pan this over, we have the converted date, so the date that it was converted over has the time on there, project name, completed by, grade technical. There you have it. Okay, thank you all very much for watching. I hope this video has been informative to you. If you have any questions for me, please leave a comment down below. I am going to be going over the graphing options in the next video, so please stick around for that. I'm going to be showing you all the different features that is in the graphing, all the things you can do with it, and a few of the little bonus features that we have right here. If there is anything I forgot to cover, please mention it down below. If you have any questions, please ask. I am always willing to answer questions from my customers or viewers. If you would like to stay up to date with everything Great Technical, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Now, we do not post videos often, but when we do, we try to make it as relevant and as entertaining as possible. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.